Velma has not gone the way HBO Max and Mindy Kaling expected. They thought that people would just shut up and consume product, but that has not happened. It is a terribly rated show, everyone seems to hate it, and now Mindy doesn't seem too confident in her future as Velma because she recently deleted tweets where she was bragging about voicing the character. I have a bunch of different things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon or a supporter via YouTube memberships. So, there are a couple of tweets actually missing from her thread. Now, the first one that I found was over on Twitter, and people were, making posts about it saying, "Why did you delete your tweet?" So, the first one that she deleted was made back only a couple of days after the first two episodes launched, and she said, "Thank you everyone for watching at HBO Max at the Velma series," and it was her post bragging about how it is the biggest premiere day for a Max original animated series, and I've talked about this quite a few times, but it really didn't have that much competition, so it really wasn't that much of an achievement. HBO Max only had 5 animated originals, and 2 of them nobody had heard about. One of them was a satire about the royal family that didn't do good for them. And then the only other series was Santa Inc., which last year was one of the lowest rated shows to release. And now, of course, Velma. So, yeah, they were bragging about it being the biggest premiere day for a Max original animated series viewership wise. It's not like people were loving the show. I mean, it has faced a lot of backlash, but for some suspicious reason, she decided to delete this, maybe because she was getting absolutely roasted over it for sounding way too cocky over a series that people actually hated. But this is mysteriously gone from her Twitter thread. And this also isn't the only other tweet. Back on January 12th, she had made this post about how "I'm so honored to voice Velma in this hilarious and sometimes very scary show created by @CB Grandy and featuring some of the most killer actors in every role. It's out right now, guys, on HBO Max at the Velma series." And she also decided to delete this because, as you can see, this page doesn't exist. Try searching for something else. So it definitely seems like she is trying to hide her tracks. Now, she hasn't deleted everything about Velma because she does have a couple of tweets still up from last year when it was announced, and she was pretty excited for it, and she was bragging about it. So those tweets are still up, but anything new having to do with Velma is gone. Honestly, I can't really say that I am that surprised at this point. She has taken a lot of heat on social media over this series just because it spits in the face of Scooby-Doo fans, and nobody really loved it. I mean, everybody has criticized it in some way, shape, or form. Even the media that has praised it as, being diverse and inclusive, even they've said it does have some problems. It seems like she is just sick and tired of taking heat for the series, but this also could mean more. We have heard that they were planning on doing a season 2, and it seemed like at the beginning of the series, when they initially greenlit it, they probably signed on for multiple seasons, and they were gonna get ready to make another season of it, but then they saw all of the backlash. Maybe they paused it, or maybe they outright canceled it. Maybe Mindy is mad that behind the scenes they decided to silently shelve the show, and she is not actually going to get a continuation of it, even though maybe she was promised initially she was, and now she's deciding to take it out on HBO and delete all of these tweets. Obviously, we don't actually know, but this, I feel, is a solid speculation at this point, because if she was confident in this series' future and confident in what she did with the show, why would she just delete all mention of it? But of course, like I mentioned, people are not happy with this series. These scores have not gone up now that the show is finally over. We have all of the content for season 1. It was a nightmare for HBO Max. 42% critic, which in my opinion is very generous, but a 7% audience score. There's really no one who, has said, I gave this a chance and I came out surprised. I thought that it was actually pretty solid. The writing in this was awful. The feminist and cringe humor just did not work. And everybody was pissed off with the fact that they changed around these amazing, iconic characters just to promote diversity and inclusivity. And unfortunately, the male characters were, of course, pushed down. Fred ended up having a ton of white privilege and he basically hated women. He was filled with misogyny. And then Shaggy also was like obsessed with Velma, and it showed that like simping is bad. That was like their messaging behind him, and it just didn't end up working out. I've said it from the beginning, but an adult themed Scooby-Doo series could have been freaking hilarious. I know I would have been excited for it. I would have watched it. But in this case, they didn't even have Scooby, different versions of the characters. It just wasn't funny. Nobody wanted to watch a Mindy Kaling self-insert series, and I think she feels burned with the fact that it did so terribly. People are saying things like, there are no words to adequately describe how mind-numbingly dumb this show is. It is a massive self-insert with dull humor and meta-commentary that falls flat on its face. I watched this show to see if it was as bad as everyone is making it out to be. It truly was awful. The writing is terrible and completely brainless. Worst show I have ever watched. Very hateful, very petty, irredeemable characters who are just rotten to the core, where it's treated as a joke, but they're all extremely unlikable. And these are just some of the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, never mind IMDb. Now, I have mentioned this in another video, but Velma is now the 3rd worst rated TV show in IMDb history, and it actually has gone down a little bit more, so people do believe that it is just the worst rated TV show in IMDb history, period, which is honestly pretty freaking pathetic for HBO, for Mindy. This show is just an outright failure. Whenever anyone is talking about it, it's because they are laughing at it, they are mocking it, they are saying how terrible it is. There's really no positivity behind this series at all, but it seems like maybe, Mindy is salty about this series going so poorly and being rated so poorly because she did delete a lot of her tweets about the show. Only time will tell. Maybe she will get another season of this show, or maybe it has been quietly canceled, and that is why she is, deleting really any mention about it on her Twitter timeline. But for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed it and found it important and informative, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.